Taehyung and Jungkook suddenly appear together, in an unusual car, in a live broadcast that lasts only 11 minutes, and now millions of ARMY ask, is this just a coincidence, or is there a hidden message they're sending? Why did they choose this moment? And who exactly is sitting in the passenger seat before the camera turns on, suddenly together after so long? What's behind Taehyung and Jungkook's car? Is this really just an ordinary reunion, or is it just the first step of something bigger and deeper? Why do many soldiers' hearts feel even more cramped after seeing them together? Why is this broadcast only 11 minutes long when it's been more than a year since they last appeared together? And why didn't they mention a single name other than their own? On July 16th, 2025, the K-pop world was rocked again, not by a comeback, not by a new album release, not even by a surprise solo debut, but by something much simpler. And it was precisely because of that simplicity that everything was more painful, an 11-minute Instagram live. Behind such a short time, there is a storm that is now shaking the spaces of the fan community around the world, Taehyung and Jungkook. Two names that always carry memories, tension, hope, and also wounds that are never really healed. The live broadcast showed no stage, no grandiose choreography, no long messages as usual. They were just sitting in a car. Music played, occasional laughter was heard, and one moment went viral, when Taehyung touched Jungkook's cheek, then gently pressed it. That moment left everyone breathing a sigh of relief, because it wasn't the first time it had happened. 5 years ago, in 2020, exactly when they were still appearing together in BTS's official content, a similar moment also happened. But today, the question is no longer about familiarity, but about why now. Is there really nothing strange about this moment? Or is there something hidden behind the windows? What do they mean by choosing a car as a location? Is it a private car of one of them? Or did someone direct them to be in that place together? And even more suspicious, why did the broadcast start suddenly without notice and ended without a closing greeting? It was as if there was something they had to hide before too much was visible to the cameras. The biggest question came from one detail that was almost missed. In the early seconds of the broadcast, it was clearly visible that there was a reflection of someone's shadow on the back glass. Who was that? Why didn't Jungkook and Taehyung offend anyone but the two of them? If they were really alone, why did their gestures look like they wanted to keep their distance even though they were sitting next to each other? ARMY, who had seen the live broadcast, mentioned how the aura in the car felt odd, not tense, but also not comfortable. As if they were role-playing, trying to appear calm, but storing something very heavy. Even when laughing, their voices sound like they're being pulled from a compressed esophagus. And anyone who has ever loved them can surely feel that laughter is impure. Why did they choose July 16th? The date did not coincide with any member's birthday, nor was it a special day in BTS history. But if we pull deeper, the date turns out to fall exactly 2 weeks after internal rumors that mention personal conflicts that interfere with HYB's future projects. Is Taehyung and Jungkook's appearance an indirect form of clarification? Or is it a form of resistance? This broadcast came at a very sensitive moment. Jimin, who is usually known as the emotional liaison between Taehyung and Jungkook, has not appeared at all in recent weeks. Even his posts on social media have become very rare and more filled with cryptic messages. Is the appearance of these two old friends without him a real form that something has changed? Does Jimin know about this broadcast? Or even more painful, was he deliberately not involved? Some fans noticed that Taehyung seemed to be more silent during the broadcast, while Jungkook more often filled in the gaps with mumbles or light jokes. This is the opposite of their dynamic a few years ago, when Taehyung was always the most expressive. Many suspect that Taehyung's silence that night was not because it was uncomfortable, it was because he had too much to say but shouldn't. There are wounds that have not healed. And maybe there's a decision they're considering together. The car, which became an impromptu stage for their broadcast, is now the subject of analysis of fans. Based on the interior design pieces seen, the ARMY managed to identify that the car did not belong to Taehyung or Jungkook, but most likely belonged to HYB's management staff. Then an even more disturbing question arises. Were they forced to do this broadcast? Or is this their own ploy to send a message that is not said directly, but is clearly felt? As Taehyung looks at Jungkook before pressing his cheek, there is a glimpse of a smile that is not a smile of victory, but rather regret, as if it were a farewell touch. Could this be their last appearance together before a big announcement? Are they preparing themselves for something they can't avoid? When the broadcast ended, there was no farewell speech. No by ARMY, no see you soon, just a sudden dark screen. And for some reason, that emptiness is more heartbreaking than any goodbye. ARMY made hanging, and until now there has been no official statement from HYB. Many are wondering, are they just trying to treat the longing of fans? Or is this the beginning of a new chapter that will change everything? Is it true that Jungkook and Taehyung are really reuniting, or just sitting together for professional reasons? Is Jimin being shunned, or kept away? Why are their smiles so bitter? And one last question that haunted all who watched the broadcast. Was the evening just a nostalgia or a farewell gesture? If there is one thing that is certain about this sudden appearance, it is that nothing happens by chance in the world of BTS. Every gesture, every word, and even every silence, everything has meaning. Now all eyes are on them. Not just to watch, but to look for clues. Because that night, in a humble car, two old friends had said a lot of things, without saying a single word they actually wanted to say. That night was only 11 minutes. But 11 minutes that feels like opening Pandora's box. The deeper we observe, the more questions arise. A question that does not have a definitive answer, but that is precisely what makes it burn in the hearts of millions of fans. After the broadcast ended, it didn't take long for armies around the world to react. Hashtags such as hashtag Taehyung live, hashtag 11-minute shaking, and hashtag Jimin instantly became global trends. Some are crying, some are happy, some are angry, and some feel struck by the harsh reality that the familiarity that used to be so warm now feels like acting behind the scenes, but there is something more disturbing than just their appearance. That is, the silence of all parties after. There is no clarification, no follow-up tweets, no additional story. Even the official accounts of BTS, Big Hit, and HYB did not re-upload the moment. It was as if the moment were a ghost, present for a moment, leaving a trace, then simply disappearing. And of course, this is not the first time silence has become an official language in their world. But the silence this time felt much more gripping. Let's draw the line back. Since entering the military, the relationship between members has become more hidden from the public eye. Jungkook is busy with solo activities that take him to various parts of the world, from Japan, London, to Paris. Meanwhile, Taehyung surprised the public with his sudden appearance at a fashion event in Seoul, alone, without a single member by his side. And the most painful? Jimin, who used to be a very frequent liaison, is now swallowed by the silence of time. His absence in this moment was not only glaring, but also made many in the army feel disoriented. If you've been following BTS for a long time, you know that whenever there's a problem that hasn't been resolved, Jimin is the one who usually stands in the middle, calming, bridging, even if it comes to sacrificing himself. But this time, he wasn't there. His face hadn't even appeared since the beginning of July. Some fan accounts claimed that Jimin was in Busan with his family, away from the hustle and bustle. But is that really all? What if the reason for Jimin's absence from the live was not because he didn't get a chance, but because he chose not to participate? Or even more tragic, because he was not invited? Let's go back to that car. When the camera turns on, the first thing they see is not their faces, but the interior. The dashboard of the car has luxurious interior details, with faint blue lighting typical of certain vehicles. The observant army immediately associated him with a vehicle belonging to one of HYB's top brass, who was once seen backstage at a concert in 2023. Then the question arises again. Why is the broadcast carried out in such a car? Can't they just live in a studio, dorm, or rehearsal room? Or are they not allowed to be somewhere else together? Another detail that is more terrible. The camera had a little shake, like there was someone helping them set it up. But when the camera is already on, the person is not visible. What's the staff? Or is it someone who doesn't know? The longer you observe, the clearer it becomes that this live is not as spontaneous as it seems. There are settings. There is choreography. Even the music playlist that was playing felt too coincidental. Songs like Friends, Euphoria, to Inner Child appear in a sequence that feels like a deliberate emotional script. And when they laugh, it's not the laughter that liberates, it's like the laughter that comes from having no CH. When the screen was dark, millions of hearts were still staring blankly. It was as if the silence after the broadcast was even more jarring than the light laughter heard during the previous 11 minutes. And behind every replay, every screen record, every snippet of video that's been redistributed across TikTok, X, and Instagram, there's one thing that can't be lied to. Their aura feels heavy, like they're carrying a weight unseen by the camera, but deeply felt by the hearts of the audience that has known them for so long. ARMY is not just a spectator. They are living witnesses of the journey of 7 young people who grew up under the light of the spotlight and the shadow of the expectations of the world. So when Taehyung and Jungkook show up suddenly, just the two of them, in a non-private car, in such a short time, everyone can't accept this as a moment of chance. Because there are no coincidences in the BTS world. Even a single emoji uploaded on their social media can be a topic of discussion for days. Then how can these 11 minutes not bring thousands of question marks? Less than 30 minutes after the broadcast ended, the keywords were as Jimin, Taehyung live, and why is it only 11 minutes immediately dominated the trending columns in more than 26 countries, including South Korea, Indonesia, Japan, the United Kingdom, Brazil, and even Turkey. On the other hand, an unusual hashtag appeared quietly and slowly climbed into the top 5. Hashtag We Deserve the Truth, because the longer the fans revisited the broadcast, the more awkward things got. Even the movement of Taehyung's hand touching the volume button looks like a certain gesture. Some armies began to assume that there were codes that they were sending secretly, either to fans, or to someone who was observing them. One of the big fanbase accounts on Twitter, @Taehyung Files, uploaded a series of screenshots comparing their facial expressions during the broadcast with old moments in 2019 to 2020. There it is clearly visible how changes are not only a matter of physique, but also of distance. In the past, the distance between Taehyung and Jungkook seemed like there was no limit. But now, sitting side by side feels like two worlds separated by thin glass. They tried to touch, but never really touched each other. Why do they look like two people saying goodbye without a sound? Wrote one of the fans from Argentina in a tweet that is now liked by more than 500,000 users. Even more painful is the fact that most fans feel the same emotions. Not nostalgia, not horror, but emptiness. If we try to dig deeper, the truth is that this broadcast is not something that stands alone. It is the result of the accumulation of various clues that have been disseminated, both consciously and unconsciously, since 2024. We still remember how Jimin had disappeared from social media for almost 2 whole months, without any official explanation from HYB's side. Or when Jungkook deleted all of his Instagram posts and said, "I just want to start from scratch." That phrase used to be considered a personal reflection, but now it feels like the beginning of a separation. Taehyung also gave a similar signal. In a limited interview for a Japanese magazine, she said that it's getting harder and harder to express what's in her heart where it used to feel good. At the time, people thought he was talking about industrial pressure. But today, that sentence invites a much more wrenching interpretation. This question becomes a new wound that slowly opens old wounds. Jimin's absence wasn't just physical. He wasn't mentioned. Not even a single song related to him was played in the live. Is this intentional? If you've been following BTS's dynamics for years, you know how important Jimin's role as a counterweight is. He is not only a friend, but also a conflict reducer. Even in the tough times of 2018 and 2021, Jimin was always in the middle. But now, it was as if it had been shifted out of its once powerful orbit. Conspiracy theories began to emerge. There are those who say that the personal relationship between Jimin and one of them began to drift apart after a closed-door meeting in Japan last year. In fact, some fans